Metaverse.
What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 70 of Stacked Podcast. We're back.
We're 70% of the way to Ethan's story that he's going to tell us.
We are not far
Only
away.
30 episodes.
We made that commitment a while ago, and we're fast approaching.
We're gonna
I'm
get that
never
story
forgetting.
this year. We're gonna get it this year.
That story is going public, Ethan. How do you feel about that?
I didn't forget Ethan. I never forget.
Maybe I'm kind of glad we don't have a lot of listeners then.
What if we blow up because of that?
Yeah, what if we blow up from that one episode? And
Yeah, all the butthole fetishists come in and be like, oh, something like that. I don't know. Sorry, was that a little vulgar? I don't know. You'll find out in episode 100 if it was vulgar.
Little teaser. Little
tease. Yeah, they get a little tease for 70, episode 70. There's 70% their way there. Yeah. All right. So we are episode 70 is stacked. We are not the episode. We are just recording it.
we am episode 70.
I am episode 70. I am Totino's.
I was episode 69. The blankest stares.
The blankest. All right, so for this episode, we got the hit movie Scream coming in theaters this week. This weekend.
I'm so excited, bro.
Scream, aka Scream 5, right? It's the fifth one.
Scraphium.
Well, it should have been 5-eam. You know.
Oh yeah, they did when they did the fourth one. They put the 4 where the E is, and everybody called it Scraforum.
Oh, it'd be 5 cream. 5 cream.
No.
5 cream. 5 cream.
Yeah, but
this movie will make cream 5 times. 5 cream. And that's a very meta franchise that sort of deconstructs the slasher genre. So today here on Stacked, we're going to talk about films that are meta. And what does it mean to be a meta film? That's really the question we're going to try to answer on this episode today. Because I feel like there's a lot of different kinds of films can be meta. You know, you got parodies, you got fourth wall breaking films, you got films that are self-reflexive upon the art form of film itself. You know, there's so many different things. So guys, I want to ask you guys, what was your sort of process in making a film, and that what do you consider that to be meta? You know, Brandon, what was your thought process?
Well, I feel like the most obvious trait of a meta film is one that breaks the fourth wall. You know, so that's like the easiest place to start. And as you start deconstructing it, it's like, well, they don't have to break the fourth wall in order for it to be meta. You can be self-reflexive like the Scream movies and kind of subvert the genre in some way by commenting on it, or like New Nightmare, one of our final stacks that we can't choose.
I know, I was so sad I couldn't choose that one.
Yeah,
it would have been on my stack.
No, it's a good meta film, you know, and the way this differs from movies about making movies is because it's kind of like opens up the world to like other things, you know, about filmmaking and about like techniques regarding storytelling.
Yeah.
And you kind of just have to work your way backward from the most basic definition. Like the only kind of films, there are meta documentaries, but like just because people talk to the camera and break the fourth wall doesn't mean they're meta films. So you don't, obviously 90% of the time you're not going to include a documentary, but there are some documentaries that do comment on themselves. So yeah.
Chris, what about you? How'd you make a meta stack? Huh?
For me, I decided to kind of just have fun with this one. I bumped in 3 very different ways.
God damn it.
Yeah,
So,
I'm excited.
I'm the wild card. What can I say?
He's always the wild card. He's always throwing those curveballs, so.
I can't wait for like Sally Gardner at the Gallup, bro.
Part 2. Oh.
So we'll see. But this will be a fun one. I am excited to share some of these. I do think I kept it. I don't think I went to Sally Gardner levels of wild cardiness, but I still think, you know, I can make an argument. I can make a decent argument for some of these.
I can make a pretty decent argument. Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. So.
All right. Well, I'm sort of a combination of both of yous. I don't know. We'll see. But of course, before we get into our picks, once a week, we set a topic or theme and construct our own 3-film stack. Then at the end of the show, we will mix match 9 films, make the own decision what quintessential 3-film stack I'm not even looking at the notes right now. you know how this show works. I don't care anymore. I'm going first. So we chose the original film in this franchise for a final stack for origin stories, and I feel like I couldn't leave this guy out for talking about meta stuff. So I'm choosing Deadpool 2 for my first one of this meta episode, because I feel like Deadpool 2's been forgotten. You know, no one really thinks about Deadpool 2 anymore. And I think it's a great film. I think it's nowhere near as good as the first one, but I think it's pretty solid. It's the first one's pretty meta in terms of the superhero genre itself, but I feel like Deadpool 2, it's even more meta in the sort of franchisiness of it all, you know? In what does it mean to be a sequel to a superhero film, and sort of that is reflected upon Wade Wilson's journey through like losing with his girlfriend getting fridged, which is probably my least favorite thing in the movie. But also I like the meta narrative of him having to compete with the movie Logan. You know, he's sort of like he has to compete with like Hugh Jackman in his grand finale out like that. So he's like trying to have a good death in this film, you know, and everything like that. I just think it's good. It's like putting Deadpool in a weird situation of him dealing with like a kid, and having to deal with Cable and stuff like that. And it's a fun film. It's really fun. You know, it's nothing groundbreaking like the first one, but I just think it's a good meta film. So that's why I'm choosing Deadpool 2 as my first one. What do you guys think?
It's a good choice. I mean, the Deadpool movies are, and for that matter, his character as a comic book character is like one of the most meta and I feel like influential out there. You have to point him out in terms of like his impact on, I feel like, because like Deadpool mainstreamed fourth wall break for mainstream audiences, I feel like. Because before, I feel like you could like point out any French New Wave that was experimenting with style and talking to the camera as like those were like the pioneers of fourth wall breaking and that way metaism. But after, I feel like it's just you know, people really who weren't into film or into like comic books like really knew about metaisms. So this is definitely a good choice. I don't think the second one's nearly as good of a film. I feel like it I feel like it overdoes it almost. Like it knows too much of what it is, and because of that, it's overindulgent, kind of drowns it. Mm-hmm. But it's definitely something that you need to recognize with the Deadpool movies, because it's a good movie. But it's not a great movie. So,
yeah, Chris, what do you think about Deadpool 2?
I definitely think like I kind of fall in with the same way as you guys, and I think that's kind of the same as everyone else. Where it's like Deadpool 2 is not, at least to me, it doesn't reach the same highs as the first film does. But I do think this is a very fun movie for what it was. I perfectly enjoyed it. It felt like just more of what I got from the first one, and just a bit more wild. There's a lot more of these like fun antics that he gets into, and just like
kills baby Hitler.
Yeah, there's a lot. Like at the end he does some time traveling and kills old like X-Men Origins Wolverine Deadpool.
He kills Ryan Reynolds for reading the Green script.
For reading the script. And yeah, there's just a lot of like little like things like that just like make this a really fun adventure, especially if you're, someone who followed along with everything that's going on with the X-Men universe and everything. Like I love that there's a shot where you just see the entire Dark Phoenix cast together.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, what? Bye. like they probably were just filming at the same time and just had them come in during break or something. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I definitely see why you would pick this for a meta film, because I mean it's pretty obvious. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Deadpool is a perfectly meta comic book character, probably the most meta comic book character. Yeah, makes sense to me.
Alrighty, well there's my first pick. Brandon, let's go on to you with your first meta film.
So I'm going to do one that you guys may or may not have seen. It's a 1979 film by Albert Brooks. It's called Real Life.
No, I haven't seen it.
No.
I know Albert Brooks, though. He's a fucking Marlin. The fucking clownfish. That motherfucker.
From Finding Nemo, yeah.
Nemo!
He's also a comedian and a director. And this movie is about a family, or a documentarian who goes to Arizona to film a real family's life and day-to-day for a documentary. So, of course, it's kind of it's a spoof film, like a la something you'd see like This Is Spinal Tap.
Yeah.
But it's like the way it's pitched, the way it's shown, it doesn't feel like it's like a spoof. Like it feels like it could very well be a documentary in the lives of these real people. But it's so ridiculous because of the way that Albert Brooks and everybody asks. And Albert Brooks is playing himself, by the way, in the movie. Really? He's not just the director. Like, he's in the movie. And, like, so the way it's shown is, like, very meta because the guy who is directing the movie is playing himself, directing a real documentary, or seemingly real. But, in fact, it's not, you know? And just seeing, like, the family interact and, like, seeing what an average American family is really like is really funny because sometimes it's, like, nothing happens for days and then something catastrophic happens and, like, they all catch it on camera and they're like, are we allowed to do this? Is this, like, breaking the privacy of this family? And they're like, we don't care. It's good for us. And, like, sure, it falls apart in the back half. But I feel like it's meta in a way that you don't really see that often.
Yeah.
Where it comments on a genre, presents this movie as if it's a real documentary when it is, in fact, not so. And it just works so well. So, yeah. It's a good movie.
Whoa, that's... Brandon, that's meta. That sounds like a meta film.
Yeah.
Albert Brooks is like, he's been a big blind spot of me. I know a lot of people, a lot of our peers love that dude in his films. I remember there was like this... Over the summer, everyone went through like an Albert Brooks kick where they started watching all of his films, and I haven't seen any of them. And this sounds pretty cool. Like, I don't know. Chris, what do you think?
I have never even heard of this guy, but I've seen a lot of the movies he's acted in, or voiced at least. But yeah, his stuff looks really cool. I'm looking at it on Letterboxd right now. Yeah, I'm reading the real life like stuff on Letterboxd, and it looks hella good.
It's pretty funny. Like, they kind of... It's a good comedy pick, too. Because, like, if it is commenting on this documentary and real-life families and, like, how people actually are when they're not presenting themselves as, like, these perfect people on TV, I love it. And, of course, I have that hometown element, too, because it's in Phoenix, Arizona, so...
Right,
That's true. That's true. All right. Chris?
All right.
What's your first film?
Ooh, which one should I do first? I'll do my fun one first. All right, to all of our guests out there, I suggest you buckle your seatbelts because things are about to get pretty fast and furious.
No.
What?
I'm picking F9.
F9? You're right. This is a meta film. Talk about it. Oh my god.
So, God, okay, this movie. Well, okay, before I get into all that, this movie is truly something else. I genuinely didn't think that this series could go further. But not only in F9 do they go further, but the ceiling for these movies has like extended beyond the skies now. Spoiler alert, if you really care about the Fast and Furious movies, they go to space in this one. But yes, everybody knows the whole Fast and Furious thing, but what makes this movie so meta? So I would at least like to think that this is the film in the franchise where everybody from the cast to the crew to the fans completely knew that this was getting ridiculous. But I think they did a good job of recognizing that and relishing in that. Yeah. There's enough of that quote unquote family melodrama that finds its way into the scenes between action sequences. So if that's your jam, it's there. But for me, I just like to have fun with these movies, and I don't know about you guys, but I had the time of my life watching this movie. It takes itself seriously enough that it's not completely hollow, but not so seriously that it's devoid of any of the humor. Throughout the film, the characters do the most physically impossible things and shrug it off. And yeah, they laugh at how stupid it was. There's a whole ongoing joke throughout the movie where Roman points out how indescribably lucky they are that they have survived all the things they've been through over the years. And the audience is the butt of the joke. The entire time anytime that Roman Pierce is pointing that out, it's kind of like you can feel that everyone's just kind of pointing at the audience for that. And yeah, it's fun as fuck. I think it's really great. It's not a great movie, but it services itself well. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I feel like this is a different kind of meta, and it's out of the box, but it's not dismissible out of hand, because it's meta in the case that even though characters don't fourth wall break, it is self-reflexive, but it's a different kind of self-reflexive where it's not commenting on the art or the art itself. It's commenting on the fans.
Yeah.
And the fans also being a participant in the process, like not in a way that feels like, as much as these movies can be like fan servicey and pandering, like it feels like a natural extension of what the franchise is because of how ridiculous it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like everybody was saying when the 8th one came out, The Fate and the Furious, they're like, what are they going to go to space next? And everybody's been pitching that since at least the 7th one or something. And they actually freaking did it, you know? Not that anybody actually believed they were going to fucking do it, but they did it anyway. And not only that, but they comment on multiple IP throughout the movie that are real life.
So much. Remember that one? Really
was it about Star Wars?
About Star Wars, yeah.
There was stuff.
Charlize Theron and John Cena.
And then it's
talk about it for so long.
And then there was that scene where, at the end, where they're in space and there's the
Mignon.
And that's commenting on the Universal property, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, not only that, it's having a conversation with, a meta conversation with like studio works and like big Hollywood blockbusters and stuff.
Yeah.
As much as those can be. Although I don't think the film itself is reflexive. I think the way it communicates with a fan base is in a way that like it's like the MCU and DCEU aren't. You know what I mean? Because those films can be reflexive, but for the most part, I feel like they take themselves seriously and leave their references down to like more like things that would have to do with the plot rather than it just being out of left field. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, this movie does bully you for not liking these movies, and I think that's really funny. Like the characters point and laugh at you if you're a hater, you know. And
I'm a hater, but I enjoy them.
Yeah, and it's something you got to commend, because I don't think franchises really explicitly do that to you.
Except
you
for
know?
Matrix 4 or 5, whatever you call it.
Yeah, I think this movie's pretty fucking funny. I think this movie's not good, but I think it's very fucking funny. I think adding John Cena to this world was one of the best decisions they've ever made.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
I think it's even better than
it's
The Rock.
It's stupid, but it's good.
Cuz like John Cena, the peep master himself, the man who loves to peek through small holes. Oh. This is the movie where it all started. You know?
That's when like
well,
the trend
technically
started,
his first peep was, "Are you sure about that?" As he comes through that hole. But this is the one where he's peeping through the bar. He's going, "Oh," and I remember, Chris, do you remember when we saw that in theaters? We lost our fucking minds when they're like the family is talking. They cut,
talking,
and
the
they
whole
cut back
theater
to John
was in
Cena
on the joke too.
Yeah,
yeah.
It was just like
when they cut to the shot of Cena, like what's it like? I guess like envious and looking through that hole and being like, I wish I had that family. And then everyone's just like, John Cena.
I think it's funny because it's like, we've known about the Toretto family for like the longest time. Like 8 of the 9 movies are like pretty much, or 7 of the 9 are like about the Torettos.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then there's like, they're like, oh, of course, there's nothing more that could be revealed. And then they're like, a secret brother?
Oh, but yeah, he has a brother, by the way.
And his brother is like the same type of person that he is, like exactly, except just opposite, because they have to be foils, you know?
Yeah, and of course he's like a super secret agent, like master. But
you didn't hear about that before. Because
no, you didn't.
It's like a Saw movie. It's like a Saw movie.
Yeah, it really is like a Saw movie.
Yeah, it is. Oh my god.
F9. That's my first
F9.
pick.
All right. Well, let's get into my second pick here. And actually, Brandon, you mentioned it earlier.
briefly.
This is a movie I just watched that I found its meta narrative to be quite tasteful in terms of like modern blockbuster and modern capitalist filmmaking, and that is Lana Wachowski's Matrix Resurrections. Like, this was a very big surprise of a film for me.
Me too.
I like the first Matrix. I like the Animatrix. I think the sequels are not good. Not a fan. But yeah, this one just kind of came out of left field for me. Specifically in this one plot point of Neo sort of dealing with so okay. Chris, you haven't seen it, right? Are you planning on seeing it? Have you seen the Matrix sequels?
I've only seen the first one.
Okay, that's fine. So I'll get into it. So like after Matrix Resurrection or after Matrix Revelations, is that it? Revolutions? Is it Revolutions or Revelations?
It's Revolutions.
Revelations. That's pretty biblical. Neo fucking dies. Trinity dies, and like it seems like the day has been saved.
And it's all over.
But in reality, damn, those look good. Where'd you get it?
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Okay. She got donuts. Anyways, you think it's all over, but then the beginning of the movie starts as the beginning of the movie to the first Matrix, and you're like, what the hell is going on? This is beat for beat. Like, it's just the same story, but just different characters. But then you start... But there's little changes here and there, you know? And then you start to see more characters come in, you're like, wait, they weren't in the original. And then you start to see that in this new Matrix movie, Neo was saved, like, before dying, and he is now living in a Matrix where he is the creator of his past memories as a video game. So the Matrix, his memories are like a Matrix video game series.
Which are like heavily like real, you know, where it's like, where it like ties into real life, where like there's a Warner Brothers making Matrix games and movies and stuff like that. And yeah, it's super interesting how Lana Wachowski is able to now talk about her franchise through this story of Neo being like the developer of these games, because it's now she's able to put a bit more ownership on how in the original it is a trans allegory, you know, it is a sort of a movie about perception of yourself versus the perception of others and becoming who you want to be, you know, who you truly are versus how like people see you and judge you, you know? So now she's taking the story of becoming a trans person, and now she's taking that, turning into from becoming to like surviving as one, and like living in a world and facing the trauma of how it's hard for trans storylines to be told in a capitalist film industry because they become violated and serialized and commercialized, you know? So like Neo is struggling with becoming his like powerful self again because he feels like his story has been violated, you know, by these video games. And it's super crazy and super interesting. I've never seen a modern blockbuster talk about this kind of stuff, and it blew my mind. I don't think it's an amazing movie. I don't think it's a great movie because I think it still has some Wachowski-isms. Like, I think the acting fucking kind of sucks in this movie. I'm not gonna lie, and I think the pacing's a little bad towards the later half. But I think it presents some really cool ideas that made a really memorable film for me. So, Brandon, you've seen Matrix Resurrections. What do you think? I don't like the other Matrix movies. Ethan knows this. I haven't seen Animatrix yet, but the first Matrix is just okay, and the sequels are not good. They're very convoluted, and the action in Reloaded is good, but the movie itself is not. Like, it tries too hard to go into the philosophy. It does give a lot of good world building, but in terms of a movie, it's not very good. And when you get to Resurrections, this is the first Matrix movie that I've, like, loved. And I think the reason for that is it kind of nails, like what Ethan said, like this commentary on like real life. It feels like a Scream movie, but for action movies instead of like horror slasher. and it's even more direct, which is why it might piss people off, I think. I don't know how people could hate the movie. I'm actually more surprised that fans like it, because it seems like it's more so disowning the movies that came before. Not saying it does entirely, because it embraces aspects of those stories, but it's honestly like distancing itself from some of the creative choices that may have been controversial via like studio interference, though those films do feel like auteurist visions in themselves. However, the reason why it's funny that you bring it up is I was buying Annihilation today at Best Buy as I was coming home from Tragedy of Macbeth.
Yeah.
And I got into conversation because the guy's like, "Oh, have you seen this movie?" And I was like, "Yeah, I really like it." He's like, "Yeah, I really like science fiction that like the audience sort of has to think about." And then he asked me if I'd seen Matrix Resurrections, and we had like a whole conversation about it at the checkout counter. He was like, "Yeah, I really liked it. Like a lot of people don't seem to, but I think it's kind of good." And one of my friends from my work doesn't like it. Shout out Vin. Sorry. He thinks it's really boring and bland, and I can totally understand that, because whenever they go to Zion, it does slam on the brakes quite a bit.
Yeah.
But I think the conception of the idea is really good, and I think it ties together a lot of things, and it actually gives characters, spoiler alert, a somewhat happy ending, which feels almost right in a franchise such as The Matrix, which is so cold and distant. It's nice to have like such a warm story that isn't so drab anymore. You know, it doesn't feel like it's bathed in the greens and blues of what the original it was, where it was like all gray and disgusting and PS2 video game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I quite enjoyed this pick.
Chris, what do you think?
So I've heard a little bit about like, you know, the like people singing the praises of this film and talking about like what it's really saying, you know, because like I've heard people talking about like this is like, yeah, it's a larger commentary about like the state of the industry and how certain stories are privileged over others and things like that. But, you know, having not seen the film, I can't really add to that conversation. But I mean, that sounds pretty fucking cool that like they like was it Lily or Lana who directed this one?
It was Lana.
Lana.
It was pretty cool to me that Lana was able to like interweave that into like what I assume is also just an action film. And yeah, I think it's I think it's great. I think that's a great thing. I can't say I have seen it, but open to it. Do I need to see the other two?
You just need to know that they died in the third one. I think that's it. Because I've seen the third one.
I didn't know they died. Okay,
that's fine. I guess what, I didn't know they died either, because I watched the third one after I got my booster, and I was so tired I fell asleep halfway through the film, and I woke up during the credits. I was like, huh? And I was like, I guess it won't matter. So then I popped on the fourth one. I'm like, oh, so they died.
The thing is, Chris, is they actually utilize a lot of footage from the original movies to like catch people up. Because I feel like they made the movie assuming people hadn't seen more than the first one, because that's how you can make a financially like viable product like this. Because The Matrix is like a very niche property, and it's honestly more memeable than it is like good, in my opinion. Until this one, that is. I think these have good philosophy points, but you know.
Yeah. No, I see that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, Matrix Resurrections. Pleasant surprise. Brandon, let's go to your number two.
All right. All right, my number two is going to be a film that's meta in of itself, but not meta to the audience. I'm going with one of my favorite movies. I just got it today on Blu-ray, Stranger Than Fiction, starring Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
So this movie is a film following a like IRS person played by Will Ferrell named Harold Crick, and he's like living like this normal, lonely life. And then one day, he begins to hear a voice in his head, a woman narrating his everyday life, like everything he does, the words he talks, like the dialogue he speaks, essentially. And it's like, he thinks he's going crazy, he thinks he's schizophrenic, because of it. But in actuality, within the world of the film or outside of the realm of the film, there's a woman who's writing a book or a screenplay. I can't remember, one of the two. And she's writing it about this guy's life and character, but she's going through writer's block and she needs a hit. She needs a hit. So the film is very much a commentary on storytelling in general. It's also meta in the world, as the guy can actually hear this woman speaking his everyday life.
Yeah.
And I love stories like this that kind of interweave and make you question your reality or reality and perceptions of reality. Mm-hmm. And it's very existential in that way. That a lot of films that are meta can be that way, but they can also be very intellectually stimulating as well, as they kind of engage the viewer into thinking about all these things. I feel like the film is very emotionally grounded, and that's kind of what makes it. It's definitely not like your Deadpool where you're talking to, like, you're breaking the fourth wall all the time, but it's definitely one that you gotta keep an eye on if you haven't seen it yet. It's very underrated in my opinion.
It has been a long while since I've seen this film. And I remember it being good. Will Ferrell puts in a hell of a performance. This was like his first dramatic role, right?
I feel like it was like one of his. I don't know if it was his first, but
one of his first and like only. I can't really name another dramatic role that he's done outside of this. But no. So, I love it when films play with like sort of the ideas of determinism. Even though I don't really subscribe to those theories myself, I still think it's fun to play that out in a film, because films are sort of deterministic stories, because they are written out plots that have things happen and have that sort of come in hand. Have characters recognize that within the film, sort of cool. I honestly don't really remember much that happens in this movie because it's been so long. I'm sorry. But I have seen it. I remember liking it, and I need to check it out again. Chris, have you seen this film?
No, I know that this is very high on Brandon's overall movie rankings. This is like in double digits territory, which is very, very high but low, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I know that Brandon adores this movie. I've read like the log line a couple times. I didn't know that he literally hears her voice, but that sounds cool. I like that. I think it's. I don't know why, but Brandon, would you say this movie's kind of Truman Show-esque?
Absolutely.
In that way,
I would say it's structured similarly. It's definitely like a different situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but like it feels similar in like aspects. I think. I have more of a personal connection to Truman Show because I watched that when I was much younger. But I feel like this movie's cooler because it's like having a commentary with itself. Whereas Truman Show, I don't know if it necessarily is. I just feel like it's a more complete and more emotionally resonant movie on a character level. Because that movie's not really meta. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's meta in what it's tackling, but not meta in like the way it has a conversation with its characters.
I think it's meta because I think it's meta on sort of tackling
reality TV culture.
Yeah, well, it's also just meta in like
and entertainment and like
in metaphysical way.
It's a different kind of meta than Stranger Than Fiction. That's all I'll say.
But I feel like it's
It's still meta. Yeah.
Cool film. All right, Chris, throw us another wild card. Why don't you? What's your next pick?
I like to think of this movie and its relationship to the meta stack as an origin story for
2012.
The social media titan that is now called Meta.
Oh no!
What? You're picking Social Network?
I'm picking Social Network because Meta. You know what I'm saying?
Because Meta.
That is pretty clever, but no. It's just a biopic. It's just a biopic.
That's pretty meta.
But I'll get into the meta-ness of all that.
I feel like Bohemian Rhapsody is more meta than this.
I'm changing my pick. Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yes.
So yes, Social Network. I mean, everyone who's listening probably has seen this movie, but it tells the story of Mark Zuckerberg and the very twisted story of the founding of Facebook. I'm certain many creative liberties were taken with this adaptation, but on a whole, I think it nails that narcissistic Zark Mark Zuckerberg really well.
Zark Mark Zuckerberg.
It's a wildly fascinating narrative on friendship, enterprise, egotism, and it's very compelling. I mean, courtesy of the direction of Fincher and Aaron Sorkin's always amazing scripts. I highly recommend anyone to watch this because I think this is a really great movie for like pretty much anyone who's like, I don't know, 16 and up, I guess. So why did I pick this for meta movies other than to make that joke? Frankly, not much else, but there is an angle on this I do want to like explore. So as you guys know, well, I don't know, this is just kind of my excuse to also talk about this, but you guys know about like Meta launching the quote unquote metaverse soon.
Yeah.
You know about all this?
Yeah.
So, if anyone who doesn't know, Meta is launching this like metaverse, which is basically a digital frontier, kind of like Tron and Ready Player One type thing, where people can live and enjoy a dimension completely separated from their own.
The Walmart technology, VR chat shit.
Exactly.
The Walmart. Oh my god.
And there's talks about Elon Musk developing neural linking technology.
What?
We're going too far, bro.
So I don't know if we're probably taking this too far. But all of that will change the face of the film industry, but also the world as a whole if that happens. But like for me, the reason that I picked this for Meta is because like knowing that this is kind of where the direction of this company is going, and all of that, at least through the basis of this movie, starting with a pretentious like Harvard student writing Erica Albright's a bitch online is kind of amazing to me. And I like to think of this as like an origin story for what may reshape our world into the future. And that's kind of meta, is it not? Whoa. Anyway, think about it. What do you guys think? I don't know.
That is so fucking weird. Like, all this technology shit is gonna happen because some weirdo dirtbag, like, wanted to rag on his ex online, That's fucking weird.
I kind of respect it. Just kidding.
You respect that?
Brandon's a Zuckerberg fan.
You're an animal, Brandon. Oh my god.
Animals.
Okay, that is pretty meta now that you mentioned it. Like, it's an origin story for our future. But I don't think any of this shit's gonna work. I'm sorry. I don't buy into this shit.
I don't know about the Neuralink stuff, but I do think the VR technology is not to be underestimated.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think when has ever Elon Musk shit ever worked besides like Tesla's, even those like blow up.
SpaceX does good. They've landed rockets.
They've landed a few, but they sometimes blow up like a lot.
I mean, yeah, but like
trial and error, I guess.
Trial and error. I don't know. With space travel, I guess.
I still don't understand those fucking tunnels.
Dude, there's traffic jams in them.
There's traffic jams in the tunnels. That's what they were meant to not do. Oh my god. Yeah, Meta. Boys, meet me in the Meta Walmart. All right, let's.
I'm gonna tell you have too much milk.
Boys, meet me in the Meta bubblegum shrimp.
People are already buying digital land. Like, you can do real estate already.
Digital land?
You can buy land digitally, and you know how they verify if it's yours?
How?
It's possessed as an NFT. So the future is coming, everybody.
The future is alive today.
The future is here.
The futurist is here, everyone. He sees all.
You go grab your Meta Walmart. You go talk to him. You go talk to him. You go talk to the fucking VR goggles. You go talk to him.
You go talk to Mark Zuckerberg.
Okay, I like this. It is meta. I don't. All right, tell us why.
I mean, the movie as a whole isn't tackling that. At least with Fast and Furious, like it's tackling that on an exterior and interior level.
Open your mind to the meta, man.
No.
Oh, okay.
I think this movie is a straight up biopic. There's nothing really meta about it because it came out in 2011 when this stuff was like happening.
Brandon.
No.
It's about the founding meta.
I'm aware. I'm aware.
Hey.
It came out while this shit was happening. How is it commenting on it when it's like not even like
because
privy to the information.
That's how it's so meta.
That's why it's so meta, because it's in the past, so not the present.
Because it doesn't even know. But that's just any movie. That's just any movie. That would make every movie meta.
You can read.
But then cinema is a meta art form, man.
I liked I liked your pick, Chris. Yeah, thank you. I liked it. All right, let's get into the final round here. Starting with my last pick. Now, I've been saving this movie for a certain topic, but we haven't done it yet, so I'm letting out on this one. This is by far my favorite meta sequence in all of cinema. Brandon, can you guys guess what it is? Can you guess? I'll tell you in 3, 2, 1. It is a Jim Henson film. I'll tell you that.
No.
Brandon, The Great Muppet Caper is an amazing meta film.
It's a good film.
Let me break down.
Muppet movies are all meta, though. So
no, but this one, I chose this for meta movies to represent all the other Muppet movies because it has such a great sequence that represents how meta the Muppets are. So there's a sequence where
at the beginning of the movie.
No, it's when he's arguing with Miss Piggy in the park.
Oh, that's a good sequence.
It's a good fucking sequence, right?
Yeah,
where
I remember that.
They're arguing. Kermit is playing Kermit the Frog, the reporter, arguing with Miss Piggy about her having lied to him, about being Lady Valentine. And they're arguing, and then in the middle of the argument, with the same energy, Kermit's like, "Why are you overacting?" Like, they break the scene, and Kermit and Miss Piggy start acting as themselves about how their characters are being portrayed, and then they start arguing about their relationship, like, outside the frame of the film. And then they go into that, and then they apologize, and then they sort of make up in the film too, and move on. And it's just like, it's so fucking complex that Jim Henson's fucking giant brain was able to do this. That, like, I love it. And, the beginning of the movie, of course, they say, like, in a movie, they're singing about they're making a movie and stuff like that.
It's a good movie. I need it on Blu-ray, but they don't have it on Blu-ray.
They don't have it on Blu-ray yet. I need it too.
We just have the DVD.
I got on Bree, and I saw it in theaters. I saw it in theaters all by myself. There was not a single other person in the theater, and the movie broke down at the third act. And I waited for the dude to, like, I saw the projector go off, and I saw, like, a desktop screen, and the dude, like, refresh the movie, like, reload it and continue to play. I was like, thanks, man. This whole theater's my dang self. It was one of my favorite theater going experiences, being the only guy in the whole dang theater. But Great Muppet Caper. The Muppets are meta. This one's one of the most meta ones, and it's fucking fantastic. Brandon, you gotta agree. This is one of the best Muppet movies ever, right?
It is top 3. Easy. I mean, I think it's up there with the 2011 Muppets and the Muppet movie. Yeah. But also maybe...
And Christmas Carol.
Muppets, Chris Carroll. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. But I know you have, like, another one close to your heart, and that's Muppets from Space.
Yeah. But sentimental reasons only.
Sentimental reasons. But this is one of the best Muppet movies. It's one of the funniest. The songs are great. There are sequences that are commenting on the ridiculousness of the Muppets. Like, there was, like, Fozzie's cousin bit, which was in, like, the first, like... The first 5 minutes is, like, one of the, like, the funniest sequences in history in a movie. I'm not joking. Like, like, we were dying. We were like... I don't remember The Great Muppet Keeper being this good.
Me neither, because I didn't watch it that much as a kid. I thought it was boring as shit.
I remember watching Muppets Take Manhattan more, and I didn't like that movie, but I remember enjoying it at least,
Yeah.
Because, like, there was a lot in that, like, flashy. There was a lot of flashy shit in that movie. Cameos from actors I didn't know. Lots more interactions with the real world. And then the Muppet Babies. Who's going to love the Muppet Babies? Poopies. Yeah. DMCA strike right now.
DMCA. That was too good. That's too good.
But I think I think this is one of the better ones. It definitely like picks apart the Muppets more, and I totally forgot about this sequence until you mentioned it. Like when you said the park sequence, I was like, oh yeah, like they do go off camera. Well, they are on camera, but like you see like I feel like you see a boom guy or something, or like a lighting guy.
No, remember when he talks to Columbo?
Yeah, he talks to he talks to.
That's really interesting because everything you said is 100% wrong. Who are you? What are you doing? We're shooting a movie here, you know? And he's like, oh, sorry.
I like how Peter Falk just showed up. He was just like there.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, I'm sorry. No, it's a Muppet movie. That's why, you know.
Yeah, it's so good. Chris, you haven't seen any Muppet movie, have you?
I kind of want to watch Great Muppet Caper tonight.
Only the first one.
Only the very first one. So, like, whenever you guys talk about these movies, other than when you do happen to talk about the first one, my brain is just like, what?
Huh?
We invited you to the marathon.
I think I was...
It was during finals week. I don't blame Chris for not joining us. Chris, you're excused. That was... You're a good student. We're a good student. We had our we were writing our film studies papers, our film analysis papers, while we watched all 12 of those films. God. I remember staying up till like fucking 2 a.m. finishing that because...
Was it worth it?
I don't know. I kept getting distracted by those dang little puppets. They're so fucking funny.
Let's talk about the Elmo
those little
feud
fuckers.
For a second.
What?
The Elmo feud for a second. No, just kidding.
No. Well,
Elmo with Rocco.
I can dedicate a whole After Hours episodes to the Elmo v. Rocco feud. Let me just say. that tea goes deep. Okay, yeah, that's my final pick. Brandon, what's your last film?
I am shocked. We have never even mentioned this film on the podcast, but we're doing it today. I've got the most meta film I know. It's a Kurosami film. I picked 1990's Close Up.
Hey.
Oh! I forgot it's meta.
Yeah, what? How could you forget this is meta?
Oh,
yeah. That's what this movie is.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's a fiction documentary hybrid. That's what Letterboxd uses to, like, describe it. And it's like they use the people involved in the real life events to make the movie. So what does that make this movie? Does that make it a documentary? A dramatization of those previous events? Does it make a fiction retelling, which is technically a dramatization? Could it just be like a sensationalized version of a fiction story that isn't actually real? But they use the real people involved with this story to tell it, and there's sequences where they're talking to the camera and breaking the fourth wall as if it was a documentary. But then there's like sequences in between where it's like they're telling this story and you're like, is this a film I'm watching? Or is this just like, I don't know. You know, it's very hard to describe, but it's so clever and engaging. And I'm so glad that I gave Kurosami another chance after watching The Wind Will Carry Us and absolutely hating that movie. I'm curious to watch it again, though, because of, like, our, like, film school education sense. Because I remember...
Our brains just like inflated after.
Yeah, we gotta rewatch that movie.
I'm wondering, like, I wonder if were we just dumb?
We were just that dumb. I'm willing to admit, guys, we were fucking we were stupid freshman babies.
I feel
we did not.
It was mixed with the audience too.
Yeah,
because it's like
and
the audience.
We watched that movie after lunch, and it's such a slow movie. We were all tired as fuck.
And we already,
we're just like, oh, get me out of here! I was falling asleep in the theater chair, dude.
Yeah. It's like Gummo and The Wind Will Carry Us were too early for us as film students. And I think we needed to watch those films with those like visors in order to like for me to love something like Close Up or whatever, or Cachet.
Yeah.
You know, because both of those movies like very much challenge the idea of like what is on screen. And I thought about Funny Games, but I know we already did it for a final stack because that also is very impeccably meta. But Close Up is one that has an interrogation with the frame. There are layers to this stuff. There's layers. And that's what makes it so compelling. I need to rewatch it. It's next on my movie to buy list, but I'm not going to buy it because I've been buying a lot of Christmas gifts for myself already. So
How many Blu-rays have you bought in the past 2 weeks, Brandon?
Do you want me to count them?
Yes, please. And while you do that, Chris, what do you think of Close Up? I know you love this film.
Yeah. The movie's very, very good. I was very surprised that I liked it. Like Brandon said, The Wind Will Carry Us kind of threw Kiarostami under the bus for me when I first saw it, but eventually I went ahead and watched Close Up. I watched it when I was in Hong Kong, I think. Like, I was just chilling one day and I watched it. Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. I had never seen such a confusing yet also kind of like enworlding like amalgamation between documentary and fiction. It's such a love letter to cinema and what it could be and like all that it is and all that it can be.
Yeah.
Talks a lot about like I don't know, like there's like it really does seem like dissect the kind of interconnectiveness between screen and audience and the way we see things, the way we view, understand, perceive, and interpret and act upon things.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like in its own way, it's kind of like its own metaphysical like dissection of how this art form works, like on its basis level, like the screen, how it affects a person, and just like it dissects that entire process of like light to eyes to brain to action. And like I think it was great. It has been a while since I saw it, but I think it's probably still good. Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. There's I don't know, it blurs lines and at the same time kind of like draws lines as well in terms of what cinema is and can be, and I think that's awesome. I haven't seen a movie like this since, so
yeah, me neither. Like one of my favorite scenes in the film is honestly like towards the beginning where he's waiting outside the house and
there's just a can.
It's just a can rolling down the road, and you're taking in everything. Like Kiarostami's, he's able to capture all of the atmosphere. I haven't seen anyone do this, you know? Like, it's almost like how Miyazaki levels of letting you breathe and, like, just take in what's around you. And it's deconstructing of, like, what the film form can do and, like, its potentiality. Like, having that scene. And then just having that establish what the rest of this film is about. And how many layers it has to, like, what's real, what's not, what's being made as a fictionist film, what's actually happening. And it's just like, it's crazy, and it's so sincere too, you know? It's so like it's never felt like it doesn't feel pretentious, you know?
It doesn't.
It's completely sincere. No, it seems like such a pretentious type of story, but it's told completely sincere. You know?
Yeah.
And that's fucking cinema, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. It's fucking crazy. It's so good. So good. Great fucking pick, Brandon. Nice job,
Thank
man.
you.
All right, Chris.
All right.
Let's wrap this up.
By the way, it's 14.
Hey. What is? Oh, you bought 14 Blu-rays.
Or DVD, yes. I only bought 2 DVDs.
DVDs.
2 DVDs and 12 Blu-rays. Or 13 Blu-rays and 1 DVD. One of those two.
Okay.
But Close Up and The Sacrifice are like so tantalizing.
Mm-hmm.
Or Akira. Ooh. I don't own Akira yet.
Okay. I want that. I want the steelbook. That steelbook looks cool as fuck.
Get it.
You buy it.
You buy it.
You buy it. You buy it. I'll buy it. I got it. All right, Chris, let's wrap this up. Give us your last fucking film.
All right.
Really knock our socks off, dude.
My first film was self-referential meta. My second film was meta as like an entity, like in a noun form. Now I'm just going to use it.
In a noun form?
And now in noun form. And the third one is metaphysical is the way I interpret the third one.
God damn.
What's this going to be?
You two have not seen this movie.
What?
You don't know of this movie.
What?
It is Wong Kar-wai's one and only sequel. It's 2046.
What? He made a sequel?
Yeah. 2046
What's it a sequel?
It's a sequel to In the Mood for Love. Which I
had no idea it was.
So, but I will say...
But Ethan doesn't care about that movie, so...
Yeah.
I think...
Ethan hates Hong Kong filmmakers. Let's just lay it out there.
I can talk about Fallen Angels all day. His true best film.
Oh,
you're lying.
That yourself. Movie's a masterpiece. Fallen Angels is so good.
But that's like. Wow, I hate to say it, but yeah, that's mid Wong for me.
What?
It's mid Wong. It's pretty mid Wong.
No, it's not mid. All right, tell me about 24/6. I have no idea what this movie's about.
So it might be a bit of an oversimplification to call this movie a sequel because it's a lot more than that. So 24/6 follows Chow Mo-wan, which is Tony Leung's character from In the Mood for Love, who is now a miserable science fiction writer, crippled by the unbearable yearning that has followed him throughout his life following the events of the first film. 24/6 kind of depicts this like dizzying array of emotions that this character is going through in this very impressionistic form. It's one of the most like infectiously it's so, it feels like you enter a dimension that's entirely built on emotion and like these kind of vivid images. This is easily, like without question, Wong's most abstract film. It's so experimental. The meta-ness of all this comes in that, like, Wong's films have always been more concerned with the notion of feeling rather than thinking. And the film, like this film, is similarly, but even further, more concerned with the ideas of knowing, emotion, identity, time and space, and the malleability of our reality than creating a cohesive singular narrative. The entire movie is pretty much just kind of painting a portrait of what this guy's very emotionally disturbed state of mind is like. There are these like this movie is technically a sci-fi because there are sequences where like he goes onto a train that takes him to the year 2046 where he reflects back on his time when he was in love with this woman, and 2046 is also the year before this like very monumental date that's going for Hong Kong's political history, but that's a whole other thing. I won't get into that. This movie is also, I will say, it is very indulgent, and certainly very alienating if you don't find yourself kind of immediately hopping onto its very metaphysical storytelling. It's very abstract and it's very psychedelic in its exploration of this guy, and I don't know. It's this film that I remember watching for the first time a few years ago, and I had never seen a film that so abstractly like conveyed a person's emotions through nothing more than like mood and like lighting and design and just like, I don't know. And it's the fact that it's a sequel to this very down-to-earth movie, but it's a sci-fi now. But it kind of makes sense because it's like you're kind of diving into this weird like alternate reality where you're in the mind of this man. It's this whole thing. Anyway, I know you guys haven't seen this movie, so I don't know if you guys have much input, but it's it's weird. It's very.
I don't have input, but it sounds it does sound actually meta.
Yeah, it does.
I'm not lying. I
had no idea what this. I thought it was just a film that took place in the future. I was like, oh, Wong Kar-wai. Didn't know he did so much like he did science fiction, but I didn't know it was in a sequel to In the Mood for Love. I didn't know it was like dealt with all this shit. That sounds so cool, right up my alley. Wow. I need to dive more into Wong Kar-wai. A, I need to rewatch Chungking and In the Mood for Love. B, I need to check this out and all this stuff. I need to do it ASAP. It's still on Criterion, right, Brandon?
The Wong Kar-wai stuff?
Yeah.
Let me check. I have Criterion open in my other tabs. This is where it comes in handy, okay?
That is true. Brandon always strapped with the links.
He's always keeping tabs. He's always got the receipts. Green Acres is the place to be.
Yes. I think so. Actually, 2046 is the only one it doesn't look like is on here.
No! No! What the fuck?
The Hand is on there. Days of Being Wild, Fallen Angels, Happy Together,
Zahando.
As Tears Go By.
That's a good movie.
Happy Together.
Hua Yang Day Nian
Hua.
Hua.
In a gay relationship in that one, and he's so convincing.
Yeah, that's the only one that's not in there. Yeah, you might have to buy it.
Fuck hell. How did you see it, Chris?
He lived in Hong Kong.
I lived in Hong Kong, and Fury screened it for melodrama.
Fuck! Alright. I'm gonna have to find a way. I could probably just pirate it.
You can watch it free on Pluto TV.
Pluto TV with ads on Pluto TV. Alright, that sounds cool. Damn. Fellas, look at this. I thought this was gonna be a hard topic, but we all picked 3 different films.
I thought about picking other films like Scroforum, Scream 2.
Oh, Scroforum.
Yeah, I had a couple as well. Like I almost
Duck Amuck.
Pulp Fiction, Living
You
in
almost
Oblivion.
picked Duck Amuck?
Yeah, remember Duck Amuck?
8.5. Do I guess
8.5. Yeah.
Adaptation.
Adaptation.
Holy Motors.
I almost did, but I wanted to save it. I almost picked Spider-Verse.
Ooh,
we have never picked a Spider-Man movie.
No.
Good.
We haven't.
Yeah.
I was gonna pick Holy Mountain. That was gonna be one of mine. Yeah. Because that ending just kills. All right, let's get to figure out this final stack here. I just fucking. Anyways,
let's run her down.
Let's run her down. Starting with my 3 films, we got Deadpool 2, we got Matrix Resurrections, and The Great Muppet Caper. Brandon.
Real Life, Stranger Than Fiction, Close Up.
Chris.
Sorry. F9, The Social Network, and 2046.
Okay, so I'm going to throw out The Social Network entirely. I don't want it on here.
But meta.
I don't care.
But Brandon.
You could use it for so many other different topics.
But
yeah.
meta.
That's me trying to be diplomatic about this.
That's fair. No, that's fair. Social Network you could use for so
But
much.
I would gladly accept any of the other 8 films that we chose because I feel like they all are good definitions of what meta is and can be in cinema. My big profile or what I really want is I want Close Up in there.
Me too.
I have a proposal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hit it.
I think we should do Close Up.
Yeah.
I think we should do. I would love to throw in 2046.
Yeah.
What would be a good companion to
Matrix Resurrections. I think we should throw in Matrix Resurrections because we haven't talked about modern blockbusters and stuff like that. We have like 2 more artsy films, that talk about film form. I think we should talk about like
meta in terms of content.
I could get behind that because also like that would be nice because it talks about the industry, which the others don't.
What were your other options? I'm not gonna discount that. I think it's a good stack, but I'm just checking to see what other options are.
We got Great Muppet Caper. We got F9. We got Stranger Than Fiction.
Okay, not F9 because I'd rather have Matrix on there.
Yeah, I'd rather have Matrix on there too.
Yeah. Because they both serve the. And I want to say
Great Muppet Caper is less so than other ones.
But yeah, but it doesn't.
And there's other places you could use it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so we're doing.
What order? What order are we gonna do it in?
I want to do Close Up last.
Maybe open with 2046.
Yeah, Close Up is a good ender.
Then Matrix, then Close Up.
Matrix. Yeah, and it
that
also spreads
what's
the
first
artsy
one?
films like.
Yeah.
What was the first one again? Sorry.
2046.
2046. Chris, does it have a good opener? Is that act like a good opener for you? Because you're the only one that's seen it, so.
It's pretty good. I wouldn't say it's particularly special, but it's
the least. Opening. It's the least meta. It's still meta because it's a sequel that's not really a sequel, so it's kind of commenting it. But like the Matrix is like a direct sequel, and it's like directly commenting. And then with Close Up, you got like all the meta because I feel like that movie is like meta central.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that.
All right. Let's hit it. This is Stacks official 2022. This is our first. This is our first. No, it's our second. It's our second full episode of 20. Because we did our best of in 2022. No, we didn't. We recorded it in 2021 on New Year's Day, New Year's Eve. So this is our first recorded official Stacked episode of After Hours. Yeah, that was last week, but
that doesn't count.
Yeah, that doesn't count. Anyways, first official episode 2022. meta movies, starting with Chris. You want to kick this off?
Yep. Our first film is Wong Kar-wai's 2046, a sequel to In the Mood for Love that transports you to this metaphysical, psychedelic world that is entirely composed of a very emotionally charged state of mind of its character. Wonderfully abstract movie. Check it out.
And then our next film is a very meta film in terms of modern filmmaking, in terms of franchise blockbuster, in terms of capitalist filmmaking. That is Lana Wachowski's The Matrix Resurrections, the movie that deconstructs what it means to be a story that gets manipulated by a system, controlled by profit and taking advantage of other people's stories and violating people's lives. Neo is the one.
I love movies. I love movies. I love watching them, I love making them. And our last film is Close Up. It's Close Up, a wonderfully meta film that deconstructs everyday life, but also film as a form and as a structure. We don't know what this film is. Is it a dramatization? Is it a different kind of film? Is it a documentary? Is it a docufiction? It's one of those. It is the most meta film on our list.
Yes. And there it is, everyone. There is our stack. This is a nice stack. I would like to thank everyone for listening to this little episode of Stacked, episode 70, into the new year.